Shang Chi Legend of the Ten Rings was released on September 3rd, 2021. I went with my buddy E-Rock and his wife, and it was the first time I've been to the movies for some time for obvious reasons. See, I don't know if it was just getting the movie theater experience back into my life or Shang-Chi was really that good, but I had an awesome experience. Just so you know this up front, I'm typically a generous critic when it comes to movies. I see a lot of movies that are just objectively bad, but I always try to find some sort of redeeming qualities in them. Except for Halloween Resurrection, that movie's just bad, but Busta Rhymes was pretty good in that movie.
Trick or treat,
Nope, it's bad. So anyway, straight out of theater, in my opinion, Shang-Chi is one of the top 5 best Marvel movies ever. That's a pretty high pedestal considering we've had something like over 100 Marvel movies at this point. Fast forward to November 30th, 2021, Shang-Chi just released on Blu-ray, and of course, you know what? Your boy had to get the Steelbook on deck from Best Buy. I rewatched the movie for a second time, and here is my honest review. Shang-Chi is a story about this bad conqueror dude named Wen Yu, played by Tony Leung. I'm gonna be butchering all of these names. I'm gonna do my best, okay? He's in possession of these 10 rings that can do all sorts of magical things like deflect arrows, allow you to fly, and a whole bunch of other things that we don't even know about yet. It's unclear exactly where he got these rings from. I mean, technically they're called bracelets to me because you wear them on your wrist, and rings you wear on your finger. Am I missing something here? But outside of all the magical abilities he gets, he does get eternal life as well. He uses these rings to fuel his conquest over many centuries, sometimes on the actual battlefield himself, or sometimes from the shadow. Ultimately, his thirst for power leads him to this magical place called Ta Lo, where he meets his future wife, Li Ko, played by Fa La Chen. She's the only person that's been able to go toe-to-toe with Wen Yu in battle so far, so naturally this makes him extremely attracted to her. They get together, have a couple of kids, and ultimately live this life of peace. We find out later that Li Ko is killed in a martial arts version of Home Invasion. Afterwards, Wen Wu trains his son Shang-Chi, played by Simu Liu, to be an assassin, while his daughter Shai Ling, played by, I can't pronounce this lady's name, so I'm not even gonna try, learns how to fight in the shadows because he refuses to train her. Once Shang-Chi is old enough, his father sends him on a mission to assassinate the man who killed his mother, and he leaves for the mission, never returns, and leaving his sister and father behind. Where the bulk of the story takes us is we're following Shang-Chi, now known as Shaun, and he's living his normal life in San Francisco, California, 14 years later after he abandoned his mission. He's just chilling out, valeting cars, living his best life with his BFF Katie, played by Awkwafina, and later on he's roped back into his old life when his father sends goons to retrieve this necklace that both him and his sister are both in possession of from their mother. Alright, so let's be real here. Shang-Chi is a pretty basic story when you lay everything out, and honestly, I'm here for it. Have you ever heard the saying that simple is always better? Well, Shang-Chi is exactly that. It's a simple hero's journey story where we get some martial arts, some magic, and we get some freaking dragons, baby! I think that's why I like this movie so much, is because there's not some big plot twist lying underneath the surface waiting to pop up towards the end of the movie or some crap like that. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love my movies like Inception, where they force you to think about things and wonder what you actually watched, so that way you have to rewatch it again and think about what the heck is actually going on here. Another thing for me is that pacing is everything when it comes to movies. As a viewer, I want to feel like this story is progressing at an efficient pace. Too fast and you're running the risk of losing the audience and they're going to sit there wondering what's going on, or too slow and you're going to lose the audience because they're just going to get bored. Shang-Chi walks that tightrope flawlessly. They found a way to sprinkle just enough action, just enough world building, and just enough character development to create a high stakes story that really makes you care about all the characters. I really like the mystery about the 10 rings because we're not really told that much about them during the movie. Most movies would just go ahead and explain exactly where the 10 rings came from, how they were made, and whatever else you're gonna need to know. But here what Marvel does is they say that Wen Yu just has these rings for reasons and you're just gonna have to accept this. We get little clues here and there about the rings throughout the movie, but we really get a lot more details about the rings during one of the end credit scenes, and there's 2 of them, so definitely make sure you watch them because they're gonna have a bigger deal in the Marvel Cinematic Universe going forward. Alright, so let's talk about the characters, and this movie is full of a lot of really interesting characters. We get a whole lot of new characters like this dude with a freaking sword for an arm, and we get a few returning characters like the Mandarin from Iron Man 3. I mean, like, what? Really? Yes, Trevor Slattery, played by Ben Kingsley, is back, and he's back in the best way possible, with this sidekick Morris being hilarious on screen.
You can see Morris.
Morris?
Morris! They can see you. You're real.
So talking about our main hero, Shaun, I think overall he's a pretty likable character. No, he doesn't have the wit and sarcasm like a Tony Stark, and he's definitely not a Boy Scout like a Captain America. He's kind of somewhere in between. He has his moments where he cracks jokes and lets his hair down, but ultimately you know what he's in the movie for. To do some awesome martial arts, baby. One of the biggest reasons why Shaun is such a great character is because of his chemistry with his BFF Katie, and boy, I have a lot to say about Katie. I gotta be honest, I'm not really always the biggest fan of sidekick characters in movies because I feel like they can take away from the main character at times and sometimes be the annoying comic relief. I'm gonna put this out there, but Katie is one of the best sidekick-esque characters I've ever seen in a movie. Yes, of course, she's the comic relief in this movie and she's absolutely hilarious.
Where did you get all that money? Did you bet against me?
No, I'm Xiaoling. I'm Katie. You're like such a badass. Everything that you do is like so cool.
But the thing is that she's going through a lot of the same struggles as Shaun. She settled for a lot of things in her life, like being a valet driver, but as the story progresses, she's forced to adapt to this new life that Shaun has introduced her to. Ultimately, she has her hero's moment in the Battle of Ta Lo where you honestly can't help but cheer for her. Xiaoling is a take-no-crap outcast that has somewhat of a grudge against her brother Shaun. When Shaun went out for his assassination mission, he said he was going to come back for her, but he never did. Her father prioritized Shaun over her because he couldn't stand to look at her because she reminded him too much of their mother. Ultimately, she's been able to figure out stuff on her own, like starting an illegal fighting pit, and has proven to be a lethal fighter as well. Based on the way the movie ended, I look forward to seeing what she's going to do next in the Marvel Universe going forward. Wenwu is the villain of the movie, but I really hate to call him that because he's not really the villain. He's more or less the victim of his own greed and power and the thought that the rings actually make him invincible, essentially. He's been alive for over 1,000 years and he's pretty much seen everything, but the one thing that roadblocked him was when he met a woman that he actually ended up falling in love with.
She showed me a part of myself I didn't know was there. It was like I was seeing the world for the first time.
So when you get to the final resolution, it's kind of understandable that when you've lived for over 1,000 years and you only found love one time, you're not really wanting to give that up so easily. We see our buddy Wong, played by Benedict Wong, and we also get Shaun and Xiaoling's aunt, who is the leader of the Ta Lo people. Overall, every character in the movie shines and is really well cast. Alright, so lastly, let's talk about the humor, action, and the effects. The banter between Katie and Shaun, like I said before, is top-notch and absolutely hilarious. Like when they decide to go do karaoke instead of going home earlier in the movie, and then it happens again later, and it's even funnier then. Trevor and Morris are both hysterical as well, and I really hope that we get to see them again in future Marvel movies. Overall, again, it's Marvel, the humor is great, and I really enjoyed it. The action in this movie reminds me so much of the martial arts movies that we got in the 90s and early 2000s. Jackie Chan, Jet Li, Tony Jaa all dominated this time frame, and I really miss seeing those good martial arts movies. Shang-Chi takes all the things that they did really well in those martial arts movies and takes it up a notch by adding magic and other magical elements. We get the magic from the rings, of course. We also get the magical abilities and weapons from the people of Ta Lo that they actually get from the dragon that lives there. And of course, we can't have a martial arts movie without having some freaking slow motion action. My only gripe is that during some of the Ta Lo scenes, you can see that they're clearly standing in front of a green screen, which is a little jarring because some of them are okay, and then you get to some where the characters are obviously standing in front of a green screen. But other than that, I thought the animals looked really good. I thought the overall visuals for the movie were very good. All the magical stuff looked really good. Overall, the CGI and all the effects were really top notch. So let me ask the question again, is Shang-Chi still a top 5 Marvel movie of all time? I need to do a proper tier list on the system, but I can definitely say that it's gonna fall into my top 10 Marvel movies of all time. If I had to give this movie a ranking right now, I would definitely give it a 4.5 out of 5. What did you think of Shang-Chi? Did you think it was a solid start to the next phase of Marvel movies? Let me know down in the comments below, and thank you so much for watching this video, and as always, we'll see you next time.